Hello, so in this video we're just going to do a quick hardware size comparison with the Sony Xperia L against some of the other smartphones that you may have used or may be competing against the Xperia L, and you want to have an idea of what the size is like in comparison. So you may already be using or have used a Sony Xperia J. So the L compares quite similarly to the J here. So you can see in terms of the overall profile size, the L is just a fraction bigger. It's got that angular design, a bit like the J itself. So it makes it that little bit longer. You can see the curvature on the Xperia L. In terms of thickness, there isn't a lot in it. The Xperia L probably just has the edge. So we'll now compare the Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini, most likely to be one of the highest competing devices with the Xperia L. So you can see you've got a complete different form factor, much more curvature to the corners there, giving the L a much more angular finish. In terms of thickness, the S3 Mini probably has it just slightly, albeit the Xperia L feels slimmer in the hand because of the curvature to the back part of the phone. So you can see how that profile really changes there. In terms of weight, the L just feels that little bit heavier as well. Maybe a slightly older or different device is the BlackBerry Bold 9700. You can see how the form factor is considerably different. Much squarer is the L than the 9700. Of course, you've got the touch screen and you haven't got the physical keyboard, but you can see how the thickness compares. The L's much thinner, but it is of course taller, and in terms of weight, very similar indeed on those two devices. We also have here the HTC 8X. Okay, it's running a different operating system, but you can see how the size compares there. There isn't an awful lot in it with these two. The 8X is just slightly taller, and it's also slightly wider, but not by much. In terms of thickness, you know, the 8X probably has it just about there. It's got curvature to the sort of side profile of the device, whereas the L has it sort of on the rear panel. In terms of weight, very similar. Probably the 8X is just the slightly heavier unit. Here we've got the iPhone 4. So this might be one that you're changing from or considering changing from. Profile, the Xperia L is bigger, but not considerably bigger. It's a bit wider, a bit taller, a bit more angular, less curvature. Thickness wise, fairly comparable really. I think in actual fact the Xperia L will feel slightly more comfortable in hand because of that curved back cover. We also have the higher end Sony Xperia S here. So starting with the thickness, you can see that the Xperia L probably just has it again. In terms of the actual dimensions of the device, pretty comparable when you actually sort of stand them back to back. Very, very similar indeed. The Xperia S has more curvature to the back cover going across it, whereas the L has it sort of going upwards. In terms of weight, the Xperia S is by far the heavier device. Then also we have the Samsung Galaxy S2, a very popular phone. You can see how the profiles are sort of similar sort of width, similar sort of height, although the Galaxy S2 is fractionally smaller, and you've got more angles on the Xperia L. Thickness wise, initial impressions suggest the S2 is thinner. The S2 of course was a very popular phone indeed and still remains to be one, but quite comparable in terms of its physical size and weight. Probably the S2 is just fractionally heavier. So that's a quick hardware size comparison of the Xperia L against other mobile devices.